Welcome to the first official Before Floor, an extension of Five on the Floor, brought to you by the Five Reasons Sports Network of the season. We are finally here. We are here on the next season for the Miami Heat. We get to see some regular season basketball and kicking off the season. Let's get it going. So before we talk about that, I want to thank everybody for joining us. Join us. Make sure you guys, if you're driving, drive safe. If you guys are sitting down, grab a drink. Make sure you guys chill with us for a little bit. Thanks for joining us here in the 5R arena. Let's go ahead and call it that. But before we get to the actual game, I want to thank a couple of sponsors, of course. First of all, Mark Brown PA. That's MARC Brown PA. Make sure you check out his website, markbrownpa.com. And if you're young and with a family, you want to make sure your assets go to the right people. You know, if something does happen to you. So make sure if that's something that you want to make sure that you want to take care of is financial responsibility, reach out to Mark Brown PA at, like I said, markbrownpa.com. MARC. Make sure it's spelled with a C. And then check him out at 954-866-8513. He's based out of North Lauderdale, and he services the entire area. And he's a Heat fan as well. So make sure if you're going to have anybody do it, make sure it's a Heat fan and not like a Celtics fan who just moved here from Boston to avoid taxes. So check out our boy Mark Brown. Now, also want to make sure you go to prizepicks.com, use the promo code 5, double your deposit up to $100. You can play individual stats. You can play total fantasy score. You have a bunch of different ways to play. You can flex play. So even if you get one of your 4 picks wrong, you still can time and a half your money. So there's a couple ways to go with your daily fantasy. Make sure you go to prizepicks.com, use the promo code 5, and get your double deposit up to $100. Gentlemen, we are here. We are up to the regular
Season 35.
Now, before we get on to the game itself, I want to take a look at some of the big picture things that's going on here, right? Realistically, the Heat are, like they say in the pod, right? They're banking on the development of Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo. Now, Marco, I'll throw it to you since you're joining us for the first time in a little bit of while. Realistically, what level do you see Bam and Tyler taking their games to tonight and also throughout the season?
Tonight, I expect a Bam 2010 because there's nobody on that Bulls team that can guard him. But for the season, it's around the same kind of range, really. I kind of made the prediction at the end of last season that I expect Bam to have a 23, 10, and 4 season this year with the DPOY. But that might just be me, sunshine pumping. Shout out to Greg. But that's kind of what I expect. I think that's what Bam kind of wants to get to. He's talked about the shots. He's kind of put his money where his mouth is in the preseason. Now, at the regular season, that's a whole different story. We all know about that. But that's kind of where I expect him. Tyler, I honestly don't know because Tyler is in such a tough spot being such a young guy who's had to be in a team that's wanting to contend. As soon as, they drafted him, he didn't expect that. I don't think a lot of people on the Heat kind of expected that either. But it's kind of a tough line to kind of walk when you're as young as he is, having to be on a team that wants to win already. But for him, I kind of expect, a decent 20 and 5 season again. Just hasn't put up good averages. He has to make his money worth in those jumpers that he's going to get wide open because he's gonna play with 4 dudes that are capable of giving him the ball, 3 guys that are elite at it almost. So I expect him to put up good numbers. It's just a matter of nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to care unless he does in the playoffs, really. So that's it.
Yeah, and something that I want to see when it comes to Tyler, we know when he's healthy, he's kind of an underrated rebounder. We've seen him put up decent number when it comes to rebounding the ball. And when it comes to this team, we know they're not going to be super big. He's going to have to make sure that he fills that hole, fills all the gaps, right? If he's not scoring the ball, if he doesn't have the hot hand, he's going to have to be doing other things. Gad, what do you want to see from those 2 guys as the season goes on?
I'm with Marco. Like, I think the leap per se that's going to come statistically speaking, I kind of think it's going to come from Bam more so than it's going to come from Hero, just because Hero is just constantly toggling between roles and trying to find out, can he play off ball? Is he a playmaker today? Is he a scorer? Whatever. Bam, I feel like this starting lineup is optimized for Bam to just do what we want Bam to do. Score. I mean, he went out not unsolicited, but he was asked 15 field goal attempts and he said, no, let's take it to 18 this year. I want to take 18 shots a game. And that confidence in himself as a scorer, I think, is one of the things that we'll hopefully see throughout the season. Obviously, there's been some moments, there's peaks and valleys with Bam's aggression and his scoring attitude and whatnot. But I want to see a scoring jump from Bam. I think he's fully capable of it. I think the free throw line, getting to the free throw line is going to be paramount for him. If he's able to do some dribble drive stuff, that'd be cool off face-ups, but you need to develop the jumper off the face-up first. And that's something I'd like to see. Shot really poorly from mid-range last year. I think he'll turn that up again. And for Hero, like, I've said it before, but I'll say it again. I really want him to lean into being like one of the most elite shooters in the league. Like, you can say there's a bunch of differences between the players, but I want him to play like a Zach LaVine type as a scorer, where it is super quick decision making, and he doesn't need to have the high flying dunks or whatever. But I'm talking like one of the best catch and shoot threats in with ability to do more in the entire league. I think Hero can get to that level. I think that's something he'll try to do with the starting lineup this year.
Now, another player that's obviously contingent on how this Heat season to go, Jimmy Butler, right? He's still going, our alpha. He's still the number one guy on this team. And over the last 2 seasons, his numbers have been pretty consistent. 21 points a game, roughly, shooting 49% from the field, averaging about 5 rebounds. Assists took a little dip last year, but you're going to think that's going to happen with a guy like Kyle Lowry coming in. Timmy, I'll go to you on this one. What do you think we see from Jimmy Butler? Do we see that same level of play last year, or do you see maybe a more advanced Jimmy Butler this year?
For some strange reason, and this kind of goes with Marco and Gad said, I really think this is the leap year of Hero and Bomb, and Jimmy's going to pace himself in throughout the whole season. Like, we know that with playoff Jimmy is, but I really think Jimmy's going to Jimmy knows he can get one shot away from the finals, but he knows that he needs others' confidence, because we've seen in the playoffs where they pass it the Bomb or the Hero and they just pass out. So maybe he goes the LeBron route and like force feeds Tyler, force feeds Bomb, and maybe in a close game Jimmy just takes over, which we had some issue with last season. But I can see Jimmy just playing a full floor game, maybe 18, 5 and 5, locked up the best player, steals, rebounds, assists. He's still will flirt with some 20-point games, but really trying to get this young core in the mindset that this is their team. And I think Jimmy still is the alpha, still is the best player in the team, but all of this talk about, who this team added, we got three guys legit who can score 20. Bomb, Jimmy, and Hero. And we see. I listened to both parts this week with Brady and Alex talking about the defense and offense. I actually feel much better as a Heat fan after both Brady and Alex broke down what. Yes, we know what Tucker brought. We know what we lose by him leaving, but just adding Caleb, who's actually going to drive to the rim. Like, I watched the Sixers game last night. Like, if Tucker didn't hit shoot the corner jumper, he just was not there. Now imagine Caleb cutting to the baseline. Like, I could just see this offense being so much more dynamic, and we're not going to be a fast-paced team, but I could see them fast breaking more. I could see Jimmy just getting loose a bit more. Like, it just feels this team is going to be free when you have a Lowry. Look at who starts the game. Bomb, Caleb, Jimmy, and Hero, and Larry, who wants to push the pace. So I really just think Jimmy is going, hey, look at Ethan. I think we're going to see Jimmy just not lead the team in scoring, but I think he's going to attempt more threes this year as well and hit.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, a lot of good points made there. And this team, like you said, it's definitely a little bit of a comfort level coming in, knowing that these guys are continually making progress every year. We've seen from this Heat developmental team that they're able to develop guys, and we've seen Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero continue to take steps year after year. So we know this year they're going to come in and take another step. Now, getting into tonight's game, we know that we're playing the Chicago Bulls without Zach LaVine. If you guys missed it, Zach LaVine is out with some knee soreness, kind of managing that injury. But they're also one of, last year we were a bottom 5 defensive team when it comes to the 3-point land. And this Miami Heat team with the ball movement can create a lot of good looks for a couple of different players, right? We can see Yovich pop out, Duncan Robinson, Max Strus, Tyler Hero. There's a lot of opportunity for a lot of different guys. So, Gad, I'll throw it to you on this one. With the defense of the Chicago Bulls, who do you think of the 3-point shooters has the best night tonight?
All of them. Like, it's Nikola Vucevic and Andre Drummond are both. One of them is going to be on the floor at all times. Sometimes both, because Billy Donovan is a certified sicko. So I would not be surprised if the Heat bombed away from 3 tonight. I think in starting Caleb and leaning kind of smaller, they'll play faster, and they're just going to get the defense moving. Now, you have Alex Caruso and Ayo Dosunmu, who are both, I think, pretty good point of attack defenders, good about getting around screens and whatnot. But I mean, DeMar DeRozan, Nikola Vucevic, those are 2 liabilities there. Patrick Williams, he's a really good defender, so he might make an impact. But I think he's more of like a help side defender, like a weak side rim protector, as opposed to the Jimmy Butler type where he's going to disrupt passing lanes and whatnot. So I think the Heat's offense should be free-flowing. The ball should be moving tonight, and you're going to see shooters get open shots. Now, hopefully they hit them, because the last time we saw the Heat, they didn't. But the Heat are a pretty damn good regular season three-point shooting team, and I expect a lot of these guys to really make their mark tonight.
Now, it seems that every time the Heat, over the last maybe 5 years or so, every time they've drafted a player, maybe outside of Precious, they've lived up to expectations and kind of outlived, overdone them. Now, Nikola Jovic is coming in tonight, and in the preseason, we weren't really sure what we were going to get with him. He was kind of really young, a little bit raw, but he showed that he has a lot of talent and that he has a spot and a unique skill set that he brings to this team. Marco, where do you think he fits in into tonight's game? And give me a prediction for his stat line.
Man, I want to be realistic, but I also want to go ahead and say he's going to get 10, 5, and 6, but I doubt it. I honestly think that might work him in slowly. I think they're going to go with the Yurt route. They're going to wait until Dedmon's either injured or traded. Or
The Yurt route. I think he's out tonight, right?
Yeah, Yurt's out. No,
Okay.
I'm saying like they did last year with Yurt. Like they're going to wait until Dedmon either gets injured or, they trade him, which is definitely going to happen this year. And then they'll bring him along. Or maybe they, pop out Yovich like we don't expect, and he's going to play the backup center roles. I hope that's it, because I need him to get the reps in, as many reps as possible, especially in the rookie year. Josh Richardson had the same thing. We didn't expect him to play, and he played a lot. He stunk up the place for the first month, so they sent him down to the G League, and he got better. So maybe that's what happens with Yovich. It's just a matter of the opportunity. Is it going to come for him? Because I think he's got the talent enough to kind of. I've been a Yovich believer for about 2 years now. Sorry, I'm gonna be a Yovich hipster right now, but I really like this dude. I think he's going to be really good. But I think they got to bring him in at his own pace and don't kind of rush him into anything.
I actually think that he plays tonight because there's no Depot and no Yurt, two guys that you expect to be in the top 5, in the top 10 rotation. So I actually think we might see a Jovic sighting tonight, actually, because of the injuries, not because Stowe's been a my scientist already. I just think that with Depot being out and Yurt, we might see a Jovic sighting.
So, Timmy, I'll actually throw it to you, and I want you to expand on the point. Like you said, no Yurt, right? As far as this power rotation goes, they were kind of testing out doing the too big thing with the Bam and the Yurtseven. But with Yurt being out, we know Kayla Martin is the starter. Dwayne Wade-Dedmon is probably the apparent backup for the backup 5. What do you think the power rotation looks like? Because like you said, Vucevic is somebody that's given us problems. And although this Bulls team isn't necessarily a great rebounding team, he's a good rebounding player and is very good at getting that second step and putting that ball back in. So what do you think that Heat do tonight as far as their power rotation goes?
Yeah, if I was going just off the camp, but I saw, I would say maybe Highsmith. But watching those Jovic minutes, I think, especially being the Serbian, the European connection, like I just think that because you can't depend on Duncan to get you any boards, and Jovic looks just so comfortable in those 2 preseason games. So I really think, because really your choice is Highsmith or Jovic for that 4th man. I mean, Highsmith is I saw him burst like Tyler Hero's air drums and like a putback dunk, but so I like that his energy in the boards. But I just think tonight we see the rookie, the first round pick, get some minutes with Yurt being out, and I think I would almost place some money on it. Like I would probably put like $1 on it. I think Nikola takes some minutes tonight with Yurt being out for sure. So you have Dedmon in for Bomb, then you have Jovic coming, maybe Spot. Because I don't think Spot wants to put Jimmy up to 4 so early in the season. No, I think it's Jovic, and if not, then Highsmith. But I think Highsmith still is maybe a 12th man at this point. I think it's Jovic up because before the season started, I mean, it still hasn't started yet for us. But I always thought Jovic was number 11. So with number 9 and 10 gone, that puts Jovic at number 9. So I really think that Jovic is strongly up next in this rotation tonight. Like I would actually be shocked if Highsmith got in the game before him.
So sticking to the point of unique lineups coming in, Gad, we know that Spoelstra kind of likes to throw some unique things out against different teams, right? He'll throw unique schemes against certain different teams. What do you think is something that unique that Coach Spo will do tonight that maybe we weren't expecting coming in?
Duncan and max minutes. I think we'll see that tonight. I think this is the type of team that you can do it against. They have some rangy, athletic, like quick wings. They have a lot of those guys on this team. But I think just their defensive anchors are too easy to exploit, where if you have that spacing, you have these guys needing to come up to at least try to get to the level of some actions, they're gonna be able to blow them up. Like Duncan and Strus, I think if they run a handoff or whatever, they actually would have the ability to dribble drive a little bit tonight because Drummond and Vucevic are so slow. So I think that's one of the things that we'll see tonight. I wouldn't shock me if we saw Duncan and max minutes.
Who do you put around them?
Bam, Gabe, Caleb, Jimmy, either one.
Fair. Marco, I'll throw this to you. We did not talk at all about Kyle Lowry. He's kind of not really, nobody's really talking him as far as the expectations. He doesn't really have any expectations coming into this season, just because last year he had some good moments, but maybe he wasn't as good as we wanted him to be as far as what we paid him for. So what do you think Kyle Lowry brings to the game tonight? And what do you think he does this season? Do you think he has a better season having a year with the team under his belt, or do you think it's more of the same? Maybe it's just something that's progressively coming with his age.
I think you hit it on the head right there at the end, where I expect the same kind of season he had last year. It's just a matter of, him staying on the floor, and maybe he decides to actually look at the rim a little more when he dribbles inside the arc. But I doubt it. I think he's still going to be saving himself for the playoffs, and hopefully he actually does save himself. But again, it's the age thing. Father Time catches up to all of us. It doesn't matter who you are. Yep. LeBron James or Chris Paul, it's going to catch up to you, even if it takes a little longer for maybe guys like that. But Kyle's at that point of his career where I'm really not worried about his regular season. We know what we're going to get. He's a rock at that position, even if it's not, the most glamorous of rock. He ain't a diamond. He's more like coal. But he gets the job done, and I don't hate him for it. I think he's going to be fine this year. Tonight, I honestly don't think they're going to ask of him a lot tonight. He's going to dissect the hell out of the Bulls. Really, he's going to pick them apart. That's the kind of team that he kind of has a day with, and he just kind of has his way with all over the place. The whole team's going to do it. I mean, honestly, it's going to be a blowout. So I don't expect a lot from him tonight, but for the season, I just want at least what we got last year with a little more games under his belt. I hope that everything personal wise with him is good now. Hopefully health wise, he makes it through the whole year. And that's really, I think every Heat fan probably agree with the health thing. We all want that.
Now, Gad, I understand your point where you don't really care about what he does till the playoffs, but you do want throughout the season, maybe not tonight, but throughout the season, for him to show what he could do in the playoffs, right? That's what you want to see during the year, right? We don't want to see Jimmy Butler go out there and every single game give you 100%, but we want to see those flashes so we know come the postseason he's able to do that. Same thing from Bam, same thing from Hero, and also same thing from Kyle. We want to see those flashes throughout the regular season at a pretty consistent level when we need him, when the matchups are there for him. That's when we want to see those things happen. So I understand you don't really care about their performance until the postseason, but you want to see those flashes throughout the regular season, right? So,
Yeah,
Timmy, I'll get you started on here with this one. Break down tonight's game and give us your biggest key for tonight's win, as well as your score prediction.
Like Marco said, this isn't a blowout. I'll honestly be surprised. We know back in the day when he was the Magic, Vucevic Man was I call him Vucevic Man, but Vucevic Man, Vucevic usually was a heat killer. We have no Lonzo, Drummond. You have Vucevic. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to be a cocky fan already first game, but this is a blowout. Like, I'm predicting maybe like 120 to 85. Like, I think the Heat are gonna run them out of the gym. We not to say that he's a fast team, just that like these guys are so slow. Like we saw when DeRozan was called the second coming of Jordan last year, and Jimmy took offense to that and like just took him out of this game. Jimmy and the team. And I respect DeRozan as a scorer, but who else do you really fear in this team? You have Ayo, you have Caruso starting, you have Green, Javante Green, you have DeRozan, you have Vucevic. The bench, I don't even remember who that bench guard is right now. It's slipping my mind right now.
Goran Dragic.
Oh, the Dragon. Well, much respect to the man who played in 1 foot for us in the finals. I mean, he's gonna do what he can do, but Gabe has that in the bag. Like Gabe knows him well. I'm actually looking forward to just seeing Dragic in the building. But yeah, I want the guys to actually blow out so they could rest for Friday, so we could get like some revenge for that Boston game.
Yet,
I think the Heat win probably by like 10 or 12. I'm pretty confident it's going to look clean. We'll see some runs from the Bulls where they actually hit some shots, but ultimately they just don't have enough defense to really bother the Heat's offense too much. One thing that I am looking for, I know I tweeted about it earlier, but I want to reiterate the point. Hero actually impressed me defensively in the preseason. So I want to see how that looks, especially against some really athletic guards and wings today from Chicago. I know they have the bigs that are really slow, but whatever. I'm excited to see where Hero looks, because if that changes a little bit and he's more of like a neutral defender for this team, listen, that will make the starting lineup look a lot prettier, because one of the things that I'm worried about is the point of attack defense and kind of just the overall defense from the backcourt of Kyle and Tyler, because Kyle, you don't expect him to go 100% in the regular season, and Tyler, to this point in his career, has been more or less a liability on the defensive end. So if he can shore that up, I'll be very impressed, and that starts tonight.
Marco.
I feel like we're gonna get an easy win. I like what Gad said about like 10-12. I think it's gonna be around. It's gonna be one of those games where the Heat are gonna lead by like 12 every time you look up, and it never feels like the Bulls are gonna get any closer than that. The Bulls are really bad at taking threes. They're really good at making them last year. They were like top 3 and made threes in terms of per game, but they were like 28th or 29th or something like that in terms of threes attempted. They don't like taking them. The Heat are really good at taking those shots, giving those shots, because they want you to take as many threes as possible. The Bulls aren't comfortable with that. That's why in 2 of the games last year there were blowouts, because the Bulls just couldn't score enough. They couldn't. It was a math problem. 3 is not bigger than 2. Sorry to everybody who's a math expert out there. But yeah, it's going to be one of those easy opening night wins. It's not going to be like the Bucks game last year where I think they blow them out by like 30. But it's going to be, as easy as last year. But, what I'm looking forward to is probably just how Bam takes that approach against Vucevic, because he knows he's faster than him. He's kind of taken his lunch money the past 3 years they've met each other, even when Bam was just like starting to be an up and coming guy. I remember him just taking Vucevic off the bounce multiple times. So I really want to see what he does with his face-up game, like Gad alluded to earlier, especially a guy that's as slow as Vooch is. I'm really interested in that. And I'm also looking forward to Javonte Green versus Kayla Martin. Those guys are power forwards, and I don't think either of them are 6'5" or taller.
Yeah, a lot of great points made by you guys. Like you said, it's going to be a fun game. I agree with all of you guys. I do think Miami gets the win done. The top 3 things I want to see, first of all, Bam, I want to see, like you said, Marco, Bam take that step against somebody like Vucevic, right? I want him to not hesitate and not think as much as he was for the last couple of years. He's always thinking about the in-between of being a playmaker and being a scorer. So tonight, I want him to be assertive. I think that's probably one of the biggest things you want him to see. Along with the shot attempts, that comes with being assertive. The second thing is I'm curious the defensive matchups with DeMar DeRozan, how those individual one-on-one matchups will go, because I think we'll see, even if DeMar scores, who's made leaps or made a little bit of progress on the defensive end when it comes to our smaller guys on our 2 or 3 positions. So I'm curious to see how that goes. And of course, I'm curious to see how Tyler Hero brings it tonight, right? It's really important, especially with the expectations of everybody. Doesn't really matter what the expectations are. He's going to play his game regardless. But I'm just curious to see what he brings to the table, just having maybe that pressure lifted off of him, because he was such talked about in trades. That mental pressure of just having that extension, just, hey, we believe in you, may just make him just a little bit of a better player. So I do think Miami gets it done. I do want to make sure you guys, like I said, check out prizepicks.com. Use the promo code 5. Go to markbrownpa.com. That's MARCBrownPA.com. And make sure he takes care of all your financial stuff. Any closing words from all you guys before we get this on the road?
The Heat will win 50 games this season.
Yeah.
I agree.
Don't demonetize
what's gonna
us.
be the pit
Don't
boss for this
demonetize
year?
us for that. It was just a snippet. That's fair use. Just saying.
You caught me. Anyways, thank you guys for joining us here on the 5-Hour Arena. Like I said, if you're in the car driving home, make sure you guys drive safe. Oh my God, we always want to make sure we thank our boy, the most consistent man here on 5 Reasons Sports, the unidentified celebrity review. Thank you for the $4.99 dono. Here, you got the buzzer beater, Might see one tonight at the end of the first quarter because it's going to be a blowout at the fourth quarter. But finally, the season has arrived. Let's go 5 Reasons Sports team. Hey, my man, I appreciate you as always for joining us on all of our streams, and thank everybody else for watching us that's in the comments as well. We thank you guys as well. If you haven't already, make sure you like the video. That helps us a lot. Make sure you guys subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And if you have any questions, drop it in the comments down below. So that way we'll answer them and maybe we'll get them to in the next video. So thank you guys again for checking out Before Floor, an extension of 5 on the Floor. And until next game, we'll see you again.
So thank you guys for joining us here on the pregame show. Now let's do the second part of this show. Let's listen to the players and to Eric Spoelstra and what they said after their last game of the preseason here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. Thank you to all of you that have been sending your comments. We are reading all of them. And thank you to all of you that are going to be doing super chats this year. Remember, you can help us keep growing this channel if you send us super chats. It's very easy. Just go down here, you click on super chat, and you send it over. All right, let's do it. Let's start listening to the players. Let's begin with, let's see, Bam Adebayo. I think it's going to be the first one that we're going to listen to. Bam Adebayo trying to get more shots up. Let's see what he said after the last game of the preseason.
Starting 5. How good do you think it can be? What's the ceiling for that group? How much do you like that group with Tyler and Caleb with you guys?
I think it fits, me personally. Judging by obviously just 24 minutes, but in those 24 minutes, I feel like that was some great basketball we played as that first unit. Should definitely shared the ball. How many assists we have? 15? 15 as a starting unit? 15, right? Yeah. I play dominoes now, so got accelerated math. But, I feel like 15 assists in the first unit, I feel like that's just great basketball for all of us, sharing the ball, 1 second holds, guys finding each other. It looked beautiful to me. Definitely felt comfortable for all of us.
And when you said at Media Day that you were looking to get more shots, have you been working on that full court sprint tip thing that you pulled off tonight?
Nah, that's just it's a bag of tricks, man. That's what this league is about, bag of tricks and getting a W.
Bam, you went through it also. When you first came in, there was someone else starting. You had to work your way in. You finally got that, and you've excelled from there. So someone like Tyler, do you think it's only fair that he should want to start at this point in his career? And do you sense that it is, just like it was for you, particularly meaningful to get that starting call?
Yeah. I mean, the kid is so ambitious. He wants to have that bigger role. He wants that bigger responsibility. And he's been handling it well. Like I said before, he's welcome to the club of, when things go wrong, it's his fault. So I'm proud of him. He's embracing the moment. And, he's definitely making a case for being a starter.
Bam, what different does Caleb provide there at that 4 spot?
I mean, you've seen it firsthand. The speed in our lineup is, it's unmatched. When Caleb's out there and he gives us a spacer, some guy who's athletic but also plays defense, and he can get his own when we need him to. I think that's the best thing about Caleb. He's so unique in his own way.
And last year when you guys had Kyle seemed to at least reduce some playmaking responsibilities on you and Jimmy and let you guys chase mismatches a little bit more. So now adding another playmaker in Tyler, how does having 2 guys who can create offense next to you and Jimmy make you and Jimmy's lives easier offensively?
I feel like that's when me and Jimmy get to rock up the assists. Like he had 6 tonight. I had 5. It's just, when we get in the gaps, people collapse, and then they're taking and making shots. I mean, that's the easiest thing when you got playmakers around you. You know, you give them the ball and they can make something happen.
You've increased your free throws pretty much every year. How big of a focus was that for you entering this season?
I mean, they're free, so getting to the line is the goal. You know, just trying to do it in many different ways. You know, just obviously learning from Jimmy, who's one of the best at getting fouled. You know, it kind of trickles down to the rest of us.
Bam, you talked about what Caleb provides as a forward. What did you see from what you've seen so far from Nikola Yovich and when he was playing specifically next to you guys, the starters?
Man, you know the thing I like about young fella, he's a hooper. He's one of those guys, you know, he figures it out as he goes. And that's the thing I've learned about him so far. Like, throwing him in the first unit, he looked like he was comfortable with us. He knew exactly where to go, you know, figuring it out in the flow, keeping the space, and he's not running around mindless and, you know, kick and hoop.
All right, man. Thank you.
That's it. Black Lives Matter, people.
All right, that was Bam Adebayo. Remember, after that 5th game of the preseason for the Miami Heat, let's continue listening to the players. The next one is going to be our friend Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is going to be the next one here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. Again, we're getting ready for the first game of the season, the Miami Heat against the Chicago Bulls. So let's do this. Let's go with Jimmy Butler now on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel.
Group hadn't played a lot together entering training camp. How important were these last 2 weeks to get into this point tonight? And how do you feel you guys played together tonight?
I think we did all right. Shared the ball, made some shots, so the game, it looks good. Probably do a little bit better on the defensive end, but whenever we're scoring like that, that's what we tend to do. We just try to outscore people. But it was a good game tonight. Everybody was comfortable. Everybody was having fun. Ended up in a dub.
You've played with these lineups where, at least in your first 3 years here, you've had either Max or Duncan as a spacer. Then Tyler comes out and makes his first 4 threes and is spacing just fine. Did you see that coming from him, that in this rhythm of him being off the ball a little bit more, that he could maybe fill that role that Duncan and Max had in the starting lineup prior to this?
Yeah, he could always do that, though. He was just, you know, doing that coming off the bench, whether it was handling the ball and or being a spacer, catching and shooting. But he can play. He's very, very confident. Obviously, the contract he just got, you know that he belongs in this league and he belongs in the starting lineup. So, you know, if he keep playing like that, it's going to be hard to take him off the floor.
There's been so much talk about who's going to replace PJ, but what different does Caleb bring to that starting lineup with his athleticism and just his attacking ability off the dribble?
No, he can play as well. I think it's some big shoes to fill when you talk about Tuck. That's still my guy. He's still a traitor, and I don't like him. But I think Caleb has been doing exceptionally well, talking about switching, making shots, being aggressive, being a great teammate. And, you know, like I said, it's tough to do what PJ does, but I think Caleb does extremely well.
Speaking of power forwards, not that Caleb is going to do anything that PJ was doing, and I mean, not Caleb, Yovich. What did you think of his time with you guys out there, even though it's been limited time, the way that he was able to actually play with the starters and fit with you guys?
He's hella smart for, you know, not graduating high school yet. He plays basketball the right way. He can shoot it. He can put the ball on the floor, and he can really pass it. I think that, you know, the more that he plays, the more comfortable he is going to be out there, whether it be with the starters, whether it be with some of the role players. I think that the more reps he get in game against so many different types of competition, the better he's going to become. So he's been doing well thus far.
How have you noticed Tyler Hero holding up defensively in that starting lineup? How has he improved?
Honestly, I haven't even been paying attention. I mean, kids just been getting buckets. We scored the ball really well. I just, you know, whenever it's 99 to 99 and there's 2 minutes left and we got to get stops, I can answer that then. I ain't gonna lie to you, I ain't been paying attention on defense. And I've been gambling all preseason, so I ain't been playing defense either.
You were always playing receiver, and you talk about playing receiver out there on the floor. Tonight it seemed like it was more than ever you're out there playing wide receiver. Is that something you're telling guys to throw it up and I'm going to go get it, like more intention, I guess, this season?
Yeah, I I mean, I don't do nothing else. I damn sure, that's not a cuss word. I damn sure don't rebound. So I'll be leaking out. And then I got guys that just put the ball in there and let me go do my job. And I think I'm a American football player and a football soccer player too. So you might be able to roll it. I could probably kick it in the basket, honestly. You like that, Ira? Put that quote in there.
Right there, you
Put
got
that
it.
quote in there.
Put that in your peace pipe.
Jimmy, we saw last year how adding Kyle helped both you and Bam in terms of putting you guys in the spots, adding another playmaker. So now how does the Tyler dimension of everything, adding his playmaking skills, how does he help in the starting lineup, you and Bam?
I mean, another playmaker, another really good basketball player that can put the ball in the basket, that makes the right reads, that can get out in transition, all of those good things. And you got, 4 of those. And Caleb's like 0.2, so we got like 4.2 out there on the floor. A lot of great basketball is going to be played. The more reps we get together, the better it's going to look, the better everybody's going to feel. The more everybody know where the ball's supposed to be and what everybody's going to be doing. So we got time.
Do you see this as maybe the best lineup or the easiest lineup as far as you being able to hunt mismatches? Like just not having to be on the ball, not having to play point guard a ton?
I'll find a way. I'll just be running into people anyway. Sooner or later, somebody going to run into me and just stop and switch. So either way it go, there's going to be a mismatch out there, whether it's Bam, Kyle, Tyler, Caleb, myself, Gabe, Duncan, Matt, like somebody ain't going to be able to guard somebody. Everybody can't be a good defender, so we'll figure it out.
All right, that was Jimmy Butler. You heard it. Maybe we see a lot of Luka Jovich this year. That would be one of the surprises that this season is bringing for the Miami Heat. All right, Jermaine Kane, too, Will, Jose Matos, Raziel. Thank you for all of your comments. Welcome back to the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. This year, we're going to be doing these pregame shows, and we're going to also be doing, during the regular season, some of the hangouts during the game. Today, we're going to stay together with you guys all throughout the game, and then leading up to the post-game show. Today, we have a surprise in the post-game show as well. We're going to be doing a collaboration, a crossover with our friends from Miami Heat Beat. So you're going to see the post-game show is going to be a little bit different from where you're going to see during the regular season. During the regular season, you're going to have the guys from 5 on the floor doing 5 on the floor live here after every game. Tonight, that's not going to be the case. We're going to start the season with a crossover with the Miami Heat Beat team. That post-game show is going to be hosted by our own Greg Sylvander. All right, let's continue with our coverage here. Pre-game show, first game of the season for the Miami Heat. I know you guys are still excited. You guys are very excited to be here for the beginning of the season. The NBA started last night. We saw the Sixers losing to the Celtics to start the season. Then the Golden State Warriors, the reigning champs, just beating the Lakers up in that second game of the night. Tonight, the Miami Heat facing the Chicago Bulls to start the season in Miami at FTX Arena. Let's continue with our pregame show. We have a lot of content for you guys, so don't go anyway. The next one here is going to be Kayla Martin, who's supposed to be starting at the 4 today. Let's listen to what he said after the last game of the preseason.
First time we got to see that 5 together. I'm guessing it is not the first time it has been together. What do you like about the group? Where do you think, how do you think it's coming together? How do you think it's starting to click? And what do you think the ceiling really can be for you 5?
Yeah, I think that we, you know what I mean, we, like you said, we put a couple of different combinations of 5 in. I think that kind of no matter what 5, it kind of brings different type of intangibles. Max starting at the 4, sometimes you bring really great outside shooting at that position. You bring me in there, you bring length and energy. Jimmy slides to the 4, you got a bucket getter, go-to guy at the 4. So things change all the time. So I wouldn't even necessarily say I think it looked good, but we're still starting to try to find it and, try to put it all together.
People are always fascinated by starting. Where are you on this? As long as you're getting minutes, does it matter? If you're getting important minutes, does it matter? Or does starting, is that really a big deal for you?
Yeah, starting itself isn't the end all for me. Like you said, it's playing minutes, playing important minutes, being in at important times, and having a productive role is more important to me than just to say I start. You could start and be out in 5 minutes and not go back in. So sometimes it's more for show than it is. I'd rather be in when it matters. So whenever that is.
I think you've shown why this can work, but I'm just curious as to when you came to the league, did you see your way into a starting lineup on a great team as a power forward?
Nah. I mean, when I first came in, I was just trying to get a locker. You know what I mean? So that's all I was trying to do, man. That's all I was focused on. So I couldn't even. I told you I'd have been in this position a couple years ago. So I'm rolling with it, and I'm still learning, but I'm still trying to prove that I can do that too.
Caleb, to start this game, you're really putting pressure on the rim in general, making passes around the rim and kind of getting open looks. Is that something you're coming into the game and saying, I want to put a little bit more pressure on the rim in this lineup, or how's that kind of entering?
Yeah, things I've learned, especially like the last season and coming into the season, I've kind of seen that they're gonna put some of their best players on me, on defensive to kind of take the pressure off those guys. They typically put some of your best players on the weak link offensively, and I take offense to that. So anytime I can to put pressure on guys when they're trying to get plays off, I'm gonna try to do the best I can. So I use that as motivation, and when I get downhill and see opportunities and make them work like they make us work, then I'm gonna try to do it.
What's been the biggest adjustment for you in practice and in training camp playing with those other four guys?
Hasn't really been, I feel like I just gel with a lot of guys. I mean, I feel like I got great chemistry with a lot of guys. It hasn't been too much of adjusting. My role has pretty much been set in stone since I've gotten here. There's opportunities and moments and windows to where I can capitalize more offensively on those things. But overall, it's a plug in, space the floor, run the floor, offensive rebound, pick up the best guy on the floor if Jimmy's not fighting me on it. So it's been the same, and it's pretty much going to stay the same as right now. But, I just think the difference is this year I'll just find more opportunities and more moments to capitalize offensively.
All right, thanks, Caleb.
Appreciate y'all.
All right, that was Kayla Martin, who's going to get an opportunity to start this season. We'll see how he does in the first games that are going to be starting tonight. Tonight, the Miami Heat facing the Chicago Bulls here at FTX Arena. Let's finish this set of press conferences with the head coach, Eric Spoelstra, and then we're going to listen to an episode or two of 5 on the Floor. For our friend Jose Matos, the post game is in Heat Beat. We're going to do a crossover. They're going to do it on Twitch. We're going to have it here on the YouTube channel. So you're going to be here on the YouTube channel. Just come back here as usual, and you're going to have a post-game show right here. So you don't have to do anything different. If you're used to watching it here, just come back to the YouTube channel. We're going to be here, and we're going to be having the post-game show going on here, even though it's going to be with some of the people from Miami Heat Beat. All right, so let's go and listen to Eric Spoelstra, now the head coach of the Miami Heat.
You've always had a shooter in the starting lineup in recent years, Duncan or Max. Is that a role that you could see Tyler filling? And was it always a thought that if you go with these 5, that Tyler can sort of, to some degree, handle some of that?
To some degree?
Well, I know he only made his first 4 today, but one game sample size.
I think he would find that very insulting if we didn't say that he was an elite shooter. Even in our draft workout, I think he had, to this day, our best score in our shooting drills. But it's the versatility. That's what he can bring to whatever lineup. But yes, he can play off the ball. I think that is really helpful, in that starting lineup. But he also can play with the ball, and it'd be extremely dangerous in pick and rolls, off the dribble, catch and goes, in transition. And I think he showed pretty much all of that, just in the short sample size tonight.
What difference does Kayla bring to the starting lineup at the 4, just with his athleticism at that spot?
Yes, it's the speed, it's the quickness, and I don't want to say like difference to what we've had before. Like, this is all part of the process of being open-minded to how our team will be different, and this is just the beginning. We don't even know, where the other differences will show themselves. as we get into the season. But certainly his quick twitch, his speed, his quickness on both ends of the court, and he has a great ability also to put the ball on the floor and make some plays. He can spot up, shoot, and play off the ball. He's a great cutter. And defensively, he's extremely versatile. Yeah, he can guard a lot of different guys.
We saw last year how adding a playmaker and Kyle kind of greased the wheels for Jimmy and Bam a little bit, letting them chase mismatches and initiate less. So what is having two other playmakers now in the starting lineup, aside from Jimmy and Bam, how does it make their lives easier?
Yeah, I think that's an important aspect of Kyle and his genius as a basketball player. Particularly now, point guards coming into the league, they're very ball dominant, and that's not a criticism. That's just how the game has gone. That point guards are learning how to control the game and dictate the game with the ball in their hands, making the decisions, spread pick and rolls over and over and over. Kyle has proven over the course of his career he can be that ball dominant guard and get everybody organized, or he can literally play extensive minutes off the ball and still be really effective. That championship year with Toronto, he was almost a two guard because that's what he probably sensed and felt, and their coaching staff, that other guys needed the ball in their hands, and he easily shifted, and I think that that's a great luxury. And he also has that innate feel for when he needs to be on the ball or when he can feel like, all right, these guys need to play, and they need to feel comfortable, or I need to get the ball here. And I think that'll be important because we have a lot of power, have a lot of personality that we can go to. But of course, like any good player in this league, they're going to feel more comfortable when the ball is in their hands. And this team, as we move forward, I challenge them to get more comfortable and efficient, more effective, and find different ways to impact the offense when the ball's not in their hands.
You talked about Caleb's defense earlier, but tonight's matchup against Zion probably represented one of the more difficult challenges in terms of handling that kind of overt physicality. How do you think he did, and what do you see as far as other challenges that he might have to deal with?
You're not going to, stop that locomotive with just one guy, no matter who that guy is. So it really is dependent on your team defense. It was a small sample size when he was matched up against him. Still, whatever matchup it's going to be that he takes on the challenge night to night, it's still going to be about positioning, speed, quickness, how disruptive he can be, and he can be all of those things, and you can shift him from one matchup to another seamlessly.
The decision to sign Drew Smith to a two-way contract.
Is that already out here?
Where does that come from? What's the background on that?
I'm going to pause before I answer anything about the business right now.
Have you made your moves at all for?
We're working on it. That's why I was a little bit late. We're working on everything right now. How did Shams get it? Is he here?
So you've been talking about Tyler defensively recently. I think he had 4 blocks tonight, and he was just getting a lot of those just swipe down steals that were just working out in his favor.
Did he have 4 blocks?
Yes, he did, and he had a steal as well.
Jeez.
Just where do you see that? Is there more willingness, I guess, for him to gamble in that way if he's kind of benefiting in that way with getting 4 blocks?
That's an anomaly, the 4 blocks. No, but his commitment defensively is something that he's really taken to heart. He's really worked at it. He worked on his body just to handle, bigger matchups, which you saw tonight. He's always been one of our quicker guys laterally, which, probably to the average fan, they don't really notice that. He's great on closeouts. It was a matter of adding some strength to be able to handle, the second moves that you're facing in this league quite often. But his activity, with his hands, getting deflections, getting his hand to to the ball on passes. That's definitely a point of emphasis, and we'll continue, hopefully, to make that better. And if he gets contests, that's fine. I don't think he'll be leading the league in blocks, but the commitment on that side of the floor is what I'm encouraged by overall.
Is playing with more pace than last year a point of emphasis, and why is it sort of important for this
I think yes. I think it's also probably a point of emphasis for every team in the league at this time of year, and then can you sustain it? But our speed, our quickness, our versatility, those are some of our strengths offensively, and we're quite naturally going to try to maximize that. Okay, thank you.
All right, that was Eric Spoelstra talking about this upcoming season and the starting five. We'll see how the team plays with these guys. We have the starting five already out there. That is the first five of the season. Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, Kayla Martin, and Bam Adebayo. So as we thought it would happen, this is the starting five. Again, Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, Kayla Martin, and Bam Adebayo, the starting five for the Miami Heat to face the Chicago Bulls this tonight, starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. We're still quite a long ways to get there, so let's see what's going on. All right, let's continue with our pregame show coverage here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. Now we're going to listen to an episode of 5 on the Floor. We're going to be talking about offense and defense. Let's start with the offense, because I think the offense is going to be getting a lot of more attention this year than the defense. Maybe. We'll see. I mean, we added a little bit more defense on Kayla Martin, maybe, to that starting lineup. We added a lot of offense with Tyler Hero in that starting lineup. We'll see what happens. But first, let's talk about the offense here on 5 on the Floor. Listen to this episode that the guys recorded this week.
Hey, Becky, what about this beat for you?
We talk about him all the time. He is a personal injury.
5 on the floor, ride for my dogs. Where here's the thing, you can check the score. Hustle hard, couple scars, wearing bubble frauds. Just like Butler said, you in trouble, y'all. Kept the floor playing, got it all banned. Y'all seen the block, stop with one hand. And Pat we trust, it's power, have the guts. We're here to bring the heat, y'all can hang it up.
Welcome to 5 on the Floor, a daily insider show on the Miami Heat and the NBA, featuring Ethan Skolnick, Greg Sylvander, and Alex Toledo, plus others from the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
All right, welcome back to 5 on the Floor. Here's today's floor plan. I got Alex Toledo. You can follow him at Tropical Blanket. Brady Hawk and Greg Sylvander will be back with us later in the week. We're doing a big stream on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel on Tuesday night with other contributors from the 5 Reasons Sports Network. That's going to be at 7 p.m. So make sure you're subscribed and you check that out. We will put it on the podcast feed afterwards. Also check out the last couple of episodes or sit down with Jamal Cain, who actually was going one-on-one with Jimmy Butler today in practice. Brady Hawk captured a lot of that video. That's fun stuff. And also we did an episode on sort of where the Heat are in this build cycle. Greg and I went through that last night. Now what we're going to do is we're going to break up the offense and the defense. I'm going to have Brady for the defense. I've got Alex today for the offense. And actually, Alex got the more fun assignment, I think, because this is where the Heat are leaning into this year. With PJ Tucker left, they made a decision that, as good as PJ was, and he was tremendous for them last year, yes, they wanted him back. Of course, the hard cap was a problem in terms of going 3 years. They wanted him back, but when he was going to leave, the thing that was said to me was, we need to be better offensively anyway. We weren't scoring enough in the playoffs. We need to find a way to score more. That means different kinds of players, different kinds of sets, different kinds of combinations, and just playing a different way. And you can see it already with what Eric Spoelstra is doing. So Kayla Martin in the starting lineup, it appears. Tyler Hero in the starting lineup, it appears. They replaced PJ Tucker and Max Strus. Strus still on the bench. And with a significant role with his team. Duncan Robinson may have a significant role off the bench. He was a starter at the beginning of last season. And then, of course, the return of Victor Oladipo to something closer to full health after a full training camp. We still have to see that manifest itself in games on the court. And then the possible addition to the rotation at some point of someone like Nikola Yovich, their first-round pick. So let's go here, Alex. Last year, we said, I think, before the year, I think the kind of consensus with our group was that the Heat could be maybe as high as 12th offensively. I'm not sure exactly. I should have looked at this before the show, exactly where they finished. How good do you think they could be offensively? And if you could say the one single biggest key to it, what is it?
I guess the single biggest key is just being consistent, because they have an opening now, like you were alluding to there, with PJ being gone, to make their offense a little bit more dynamic. And it's easier said than done, by the way, because just because PJ is not there doesn't mean that they're automatically going to be better offensively. They have to work at those things. And those are things that they're already pretty naturally good at, I would say, as far as cutting off ball, moving off ball. I think they're going to have a little bit more of that naturally, just with having a little bit of a smaller look out there with guys like Caleb, and just in general, guys who want to move the ball around and cut. So I feel good about that part. I think there's obviously upside for the shooting aspect of it. We've seen them be a really good shooting team in 2 out of 3 seasons with Jimmy Butler. They were number 1 throughout the season last year in 3-point shooting, and then that fell off a cliff in the playoffs, as we've seen before. And I think the other thing with offense is getting to the rim. And I think that's where you can really see upside and room for improvement, which of course you can get offense at the rim with cuts. Like I said, they're good at, but as far as actually getting to the rim more, we've talked about it plenty of times throughout the past couple of seasons. They got to do a better job at that. And I think having a little bit more space and having a little bit of a more free flowing offense with guys who are willing to move the ball, and, maybe if they play it just a little bit faster, marginally faster, I think that's how they can really turn their offense up and hopefully get to, a better ranking when you talk about offensive rating and things like that. But more importantly, just being able to have something that is more sustainable in the playoffs, right? I think we talked about that plenty of times, is not having PJ Tucker there. PJ Tucker was one of the biggest reasons that the Heat were not able to score on the Celtics in that Eastern Conference Finals. They were cheating off him, and Robert Williams was able to roam free and do his thing. And honestly, I think now is the time for them to try to switch it up a little bit. And I think that's where we all kind of see the upside.
Yeah, and I think that's where they saw the upside. And they didn't want to disparage PJ on the way out, and they didn't want to say that they didn't want him. And so I don't think you heard those kind of things publicly, but privately, that's what they were saying, is that they did feel at times they were playing 4-on-5. And, we kind of justified it the whole year by talking about PJ's accuracy from 3, particularly from the corners. But he did go through stretches of the regular season. I mean, he did fall off the second half of the regular season dramatically. It came back in the playoffs. But even with that, it was essentially one thing. They just weren't versatile enough. They're going to be replacing that with Martin's cutting, perhaps with Jovich's passing. You're going to see a lot of different kinds of looks than you saw last year. But let's get into...
We could also shoot from the wings.
Shoot for the wings, too. Let's get into something specific, and then we'll get into individual players after the break. So let's hold off on all that. But the one thing that did drop off precipitously in the playoffs, Alex, was their 3-point shooting. They were elite in the regular season. They were awful in the playoffs. They had basically 3 good 3-point shooting games, and one of them was the Duncan Robinson 8 3-point shooting, 8 make game. Beyond that, they didn't shoot the ball well. We talked about, Vincent basically kept his level, but Strus dropped. Lowry didn't shoot the ball well from 3. Hero, we know even before the injury, did not shoot the ball well from 3. They didn't have Robinson in the rotation consistently. And, and then PJ had his moments for sure from 3-point line. But like I said, it was from only like 2 spots, one corner or the other corner. How are they going to be able to sustain the shooting? Because if they don't shoot well, no matter how many dynamic, offensive players they have, and we'll get into the specifics, in terms of playmakers, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, I think there actually is some upside shooting wise here, and not necessarily for their regular season ranking, even though I do expect them to be right there, in the top percentile of the league in 3-point shooting during the regular season. Again, I think the key to them getting their shooting back to normal and, something closer to what it is during the regular season in the playoffs is not only the things we've talked about, the more obvious things like Kyle and Tyler's legs, right? And the way that both of them were playing through injuries specifically, it got worse as the playoffs went on. So I think a lot of it has to do with health, with those guys specifically, because they take on such a big part of what the Heat do, and they're third and fourth best players respectively. So I just think having those guys healthy, right, is going to help. Not only that, I think Tyler starting and playing in the role that he's going to be playing in. And yes, he's still going to get plenty of scoring opportunities, but because he's playing off ball, he's probably going to have more of an outside in type of game. Whereas I think when he was the 6th man, he could kind of slow down, play at his own pace, and have a different type of scoring load, which I think he's still going to have, right, in different types of lineups. But as far as the starting lineup, I think it's going to turn Tyler into more of a three-point shooter first. Not only he's more of a dynamic player than that, and that's the other upside there, right, is you're going to have a Tyler Hero coming off similar sets that Duncan and Max were, except Tyler can do a lot more things out of those sets. So I think, you add those things up, you add the fact that Duncan, we're kind of projecting him to have sort of a bounce back year. Max has just already found his stride as a really good rotation player in the league. Gabe is a good shooter. I think there is upside for the team to be much better than they were in last year's playoffs, which I know isn't saying much. I just think a lot of it had to do with health. And I think now they're going to be playing with a little bit more space. I think it might be a little bit freer. Obviously, we don't know if this is going to be the roster when the playoffs do start. But I don't necessarily, think that it's all about wait till the playoffs, right? I think as far as this season and their offense and their shooting goes, it's about getting it all consistent and figuring out your offensive identity throughout the season before you can worry about guys making their threes in the playoffs, because they have a lot of shooters.
All right, when we come back, I'm going to ask you a question, so I'm going to prepare you for this, okay? I'm going to give you improvements for particular players on the offensive end. And you're going to tell me which is the most important in order. We did not prep this, okay? So I don't want this is a tough question. I'm giving you the question before we go to break. And some of the things I'm going to ask you. Start thinking about it. When I come back, we're going to get into this. So I'm going to go through 5 different players on the roster and what makes the most difference for their offense this season. Before I do, I'll tell you about a couple sponsors of the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Manscaped.com. Use the code 5RSN. That's the number 5RSN. You get 20% off all the products there, all of the grooming products, the cologne, all of that stuff. Okay. Manscaped.com, 20% off. The great thing about them too is they send you a razor, then they start sending you free. They send you replacement blade. They send you everything. Okay. For free after the fact. So just get in there on their subscription, 20% off with the code 5RSN. That's the number 5RSN. I have to say this, your balls in your body will thank you. And that same code 5RSN for therapistpreferred.com, the gummies, the tincture. They've got a new sports cream there. It's more powerful. It's still legal. It's premium CBD. It's legal CBD for recovery, for sleep. Use the code 5RSN. That's the number 5RSN, 25% off at therapistpreferred.com.
Hey, Becky, what about this beat for your next song?
It's cool, but I'm into faster stuff lately, like Xfinity that gives me beyond gig speeds.
Got it. What about this then?
It sounds powerful, just like Xfinity. Because its supersonic Wi-Fi has 3 times the bandwidth, you can connect hundreds of devices at once.
That's what I call...
Doesn't know what those are. In storage, they're just going to sit there forever. I pay $200 a month for storage room. I have no idea why, okay? Because I'm never going to actually look at this stuff again. I don't even think I have a lock on it. And essentially, what I had, I used to go like 2-0, okay? And it would be like Zoe dunk, 2-2 Ewing fadeaway. Like I have these books, they're just there. I don't know if they're are these NFTs? I don't know if they count, okay? But literally, I had to have a pen. Now I haven't used a pen in ages. All right, let's go though. I'm going to give these to you. Then you got to do it off the top of your head if you're such like a millennial, Gen Z, whatever genius. You ready? Here we go. Ready? Okay.
Got it.
Okay. Bam. Mid-range improvement. Okay. Tyler Hero, better in isolation. Jimmy Butler shoots 32% or better from 3 on reasonable volume. Okay, so not like 6 threes a game, but on reasonable volume. Victor Oladipo gives them 13 points a game off the bench on decent efficiency. I'm not saying he's going to shoot 48% from the field, but low 40s or better, okay? Something like 42% or better. Or Kyle Lowry has, let's say, 15 20-point games during the season. Those are the 5.
The Lowry one is 5th for me because I don't necessarily think his scoring is going to lead to necessarily just like a lot more wins or anything during the regular season. So that one I feel good about. Easier to narrow it down there. I'm still gonna say it's a tough question. Just because you prepared me doesn't mean it's not tough. But yeah, it did let me think, because I knew you're gonna go with some of these things already. I think so. The Kyle one is fifth. Then fourth is probably the Depot one, because I kind of have a kind of a similar baseline for that already. For what he's going to do this season, I think he's going to be somewhere around there, maybe a little lower, right? If he's like on the lower end, at 11 or 12 points per game, I think minimum 10, right? So I'm just thinking like a couple more points won't make too much of a difference. So I have those guys in the bottom two there. And then top three is where it gets tough. I think I'm going to have to say Bam mid-range improvement is number 3, because like I said before, I think the most important thing for him is to be more aggressive getting to the rim. And yes, the spacing is huge, because if he does take the mid-range more frequently and shoots it at a higher percentage, it will make things easier for him to attack. I think there's already plenty of opportunities for him to attack in this offense to get to the rim with the type of handle he has for a big. Not that he has to, handle from the top of the key, but there's plenty of positions that I think he can be taken advantage of as a roller, as a handler, as a screener, to get more points already without the mid-range stuff. I already feel decent enough about the mid-range. I'm prioritizing the rim stuff. So we have left Tyler and we have Jimmy. And I think I'm probably going to say Jimmy is number 2. Jimmy shooting threes at a decent rate would be really, really nice, because I think if teams have to even think about it for a half second, right, whether they're going to respect the shot, it's just going to make things easier for Jimmy to get guys to open up their stance and for him to get to work and do his thing, getting to the rim and kind of barreling through, because I think it's already a thing where guys are always going to worry about that more than the jumper. So if they're even thinking about the jumper just a little bit, which I think they would if we got to that scenario where he's just making he's making 1 or 2 threes a game at a decent percentage, I think that would scare teams a little bit, right? Because you don't want him to start feeling himself getting going with a bunch of easy in rhythm, wide open threes, because that's where he can actually make some. We've seen that. So number 1 ends up being Tyler, because I think him being able to score in isolation is another thing that's going to be easier said than done. And not that I don't think he can do it, because he's obviously a bucket getter, and I think he's gotten better every single season. I've defended him in the past. I think he started off this preseason in the limited time looking really good, but I think him not needing screens as much just gives the Heat a lot more of a dynamic offense. And that's some of the stuff that I think would be most helpful in the playoffs, right? Not that the Jimmy threes wouldn't, or the, Bam mid-range jumpers wouldn't, but Tyler being more dynamic on his own in the playoffs would be huge, because he was just a negative for them out there. And I know he was playing hurt for the latter half of that, but still, it's hard to, he was playing through coverages he hadn't seen. It's part of his growth, but him going from a negative to a positive like that in the playoffs would absolutely be the biggest development, I think. I think they need him to be that guy. He doesn't have to be their number 1. He doesn't have to, pound the ball and be a 25 points per game scorer for that to, happen. I think he has to be kind of an upgraded version of what he was in the regular season in the playoffs for that to happen. And I think you can get that with him being more of an isolation efficient guy.
I'm with you. I think it is Tyler. And I think that was the concern of Heat fans this offseason, was would they find a player like that? And the question becomes, is the player already on the roster? So I think he focused on the right things this offseason. I will do my own ranking here. And then after the break, we're going to do rapid fire, and you're going to have to answer with 1 word. So I'm going to throw a bunch of questions at you to close the episode. I would say, to me, I would put Bam ahead of Jimmy. So I would go Tyler with the isolation, Bam with the mid range, because I do think he has to make people pay with that. I'm still bigger on him putting his head down and going to the basket, being aggressive. But if teams are going to play drop against him, he needs to take that shot quickly without the looking around. Can I do dribble handoff? Should I shoot this? No. You make a decision. I'm going to the basket or I'm shooting it. That's it. And so I think if he is more efficient there, that is more important than Jimmy shooting 32% from 3. Honestly, or 32, 34%. I feel like Jimmy will make some when he needs to. I'd almost rather Jimmy not focus on it too much. I think there were games last year he got carried away with it. We saw that with Dwayne at certain points of his career. I still would put it third, but I would say the Oladipo thing is close to me. They're going to have to come up with creation off their bench. And, I don't know how many 20-point games they're going to get from Vincent. I don't know how much he's going to play in certain circumstances. And for Strus, there will be explosions for Max. I think we're underrating maybe his role offensively. I wouldn't be stunned if Max is in their top 4 in terms of scorers this year. I think that's a real possibility, even coming off the bench. But I still think with Oladipo, the team, the organization has put so much emphasis on his, recovery and his assimilation this year and what he's going to contribute, that if he ends up being erratic and giving them only 5, 6, 7 points some nights, I think that hurts them. So I may put actually Oladipo ahead of Jimmy. I think the Lowry thing is last. He needs to be aggressive. He needs to bail him out sometimes, but it's really more for me about him taking and making big shots than it is scoring 20 consistently. All right, when we come back, we're doing some rapid fire. One more sponsor to tell you about. Of course, it's Prize Picks. See a lot of people signing up and not depositing. You can't win unless you deposit. They won't give you free money unless you deposit. So we had like 15 deposits in the past week, but only 4 or 5 signups. 15 signups, but only 4 or 5 deposits. You got to deposit. They will match you up to $100. Don't have to put down 100. You want to put down 20 and play 100, but there's no rollover with it. So it literally is free money. So go to Prize Picks, Google Play Store, the Apple App Store, or prizepicks.com. Make sure you're using that code 5. Are you ready here? You got one answer here. That's it. Ready? Leading scorer for the Heat this year is
Tyler Hero.
The Heat finish in the top 10 in offense this season in the regular season. Yes or no?
Yes.
Duncan Robinson shoots over 40% from 3 while he's with the Heat this year for however long it is.
I love all those qualifiers you
I'm just throwing that in there.
No, I'm gonna say 39. And by the way, for the last one, the Heat will be like 9 or 10th in offense. I don't think they're gonna be top 5, but yeah.
Okay. Jimmy Butler's prize pick right now is 21 points per game. Over or under?
Under.
Okay, that's fair.
20.7 or something like that.
The Heat will be better at which of the 3 levels this year in terms of comparison to the rest of the league? At the rim, mid-range, or from the 3-point line?
Oh, that one's easy. 3-point line. I think that they definitely got to get better at the rim. They were in the bottom 10, by the way. I don't know if I said that earlier. Last season during the regular season there, and we saw in the playoffs that Jimmy was the only one who could get to the rim consistently. So that's the easy one. I think they're going to be a really good 3-point shooting team again. And they definitely have some upside to be, I think, a little bit of a better mid-range team since they won't be taking as many by volume, I think.
Tyler Hero averages more than 5.5 field goal attempts per game.
You said 5.5 field goal attempts?
Excuse me, free throw attempts. My bad. Thanks for the catch. 5.5 free throw attempts per game. Tyler Hero.
Under.
See, if he's over, they're going to score a lot of points. But
yeah, over is definitely ideal. But I think it's going to be a little bit tough because he's going to have to share the ball so much. He's still going to, I think, probably get the most shots in that starting lineup. But it's, and he's going to get plenty of shots in different lineups. But I think that's more ideal.
Final one. Kyle Lowry's prize pick number for assist is 7. Over under.
Where was he at last season? Do you know?
7.
Why over?
You think he goes over? See, I said under this year, and I said under because I think that they may manage his minutes more than his games of the season.
That's a really good point. I was just thinking from a basketball sense, maybe they play a marginally faster pace, so maybe it's like 7.3, 7.5. You know what I mean?
You mentioned the last one I was going to get to, pace. Do they finally get out of the bottom?
This is the hardest one for sure. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say they're like 20 or 20.
This season. Over, under.
Oh, man. Over.
Me too.
I think they're going to give him opportunities. He was that impressive in preseason. Obviously, they have the positional need, and he plays at a high tempo and is a fast processor. I think he'll get a good amount of time, with guys going in and out to get those games.
I'm with you. I also think it's very possible this season that nobody on the team averages more than 20, but I said that last year, and both Hero and Butler went over. I still think there's a real possibility of that this season. I would play the under on Jimmy. I do think Tyler is going to lead them in scoring. I said that last year. I was almost right, but I will finish with this. If Bam finishes in the top 2 in scoring on this team, they got something. That is a bellwether. I don't know if it's actually going to happen. All right. Thanks to Alex. Brady and I will be back for the next episode. We're going to go through the defense there and the changes without PJ Tucker. Can they still be an elite defense, even though they're going to be shifting gears a little bit more towards the offense? Thanks to our sponsors, Better Edge, Manscaped, Therapist Preferred. Use that code 5RSN and you get all kinds of discounts, free money. Prize Picks, use the code 5FIVE. I can't even remember the ad that I did. Our friend Eric Rubenstein. That's right. 954-829-ERIC for the best personal injury attorney in town. Have a good night.
All right. We are ready for some Miami Heat basketball. That was our pregame show today here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. Now we're going to go ahead and stay here for the hangout. We're going to be hanging out with you guys as we get ready for tonight's game, the Miami Heat going against the Chicago Bulls. We see the players going in the court right now, so we're going to wait a couple of minutes and maybe read a couple of comments as we get ready for the start of the game. Let's go back and review the starting lineup. You have it right there on your screen, but if you just got here, this is the starting lineup for the Miami Heat. It's Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, Kayla Martin, and Bam Adebayo. Kayla Martin, Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, and our friend, our beloved Kyle Lowry. We'll see how that unit does, having the first shot at being the starting lineup, the starting 5 on this season, regular season opener on, I don't think, no, they're not doing it. So, yes, here it is. All right, let's see some of your comments. Your main king, Star Fox, you guys are having a great debate here. Who else was it? Hocus Pocus was always also talking here. Brian McKenna says he's watching it from the central area in the United States, or he's going to be having the Bulls commentaries going on there. Bam 22 a game, he says. So are you and Bam friends again? The hangout, says Jose Matos. Yes, welcome back to the hangout. We're going to be having some fun with you guys. We're going to be doing this all throughout the year. Not every game. It's a lot of games, 82 games. But maybe the most important ones. Maybe once a week. Maybe we'll see. We'll see what happens. And we'll see, depending on the sponsors as well. If we find some sponsors, we might do it more often. So if you guys want to be a sponsor, or if you guys know somebody that could want to be a sponsor of the 5 on the Floor podcast, or anything that we do here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel, just let us know. You can shoot us an email, send us a comment here on Instagram, on Twitter, whatever you can find us. Just let us know. We'll be here. Lunkers with Lucas. What's up, guys? Welcome back. We're going to be here in a second. We're waiting for the game to start. They're warming up right now, according to this. Let me see. I'm trying with all this streamings that I'm doing at the same time. I'm watching the game also in the National League Championship Series. The San Diego Padres and the Philadelphia Phillies right now are in the 7th inning. So we have a little bit of everything going on at the same time right now. So let me see. I want to ask you guys, how many wins does Miami Heat get this season? And thank you to our friend Lunkers with Lucas, who says, I dropped the like. Hit the like button. Subscribe. Thank you. We are also very close to the 20,000 subscribers here on their YouTube channel. So that's going to be very important for us and for you guys, as we are all part of the 5 Reasons family here. All right. For all of you that want to watch the game live, we cannot broadcast the game live as we usually do. This is just a hangout, and then we'll see. All right. 50 or 48, says our friend Jose Matos. How many wins the Miami Heat is going to get this season? Lunkers with Lucas says 55. Michael says Bulls, 46 wins is my guess. I hope they get more. So Michael is a Bulls fan. And what do you think about the Miami Heat, Michael, now that you're here? Let us know what you think, and we'll get back to you with that. All right. They're presenting the players right now. So, and all of the team from the Miami Heat, not just the players, but the front office and broadcasters and all of that. So it's gonna take a while as we get ready to start the season. Remember, this is the first game of the season. The NBA is back here, and we are ready for it. Last night, a couple of games. Right now, some games going on as well. Let's review some of the scores. The Magic is beating the Detroit Pistons. Whoa, what a game. Magic Pistons, 26-14 in the first quarter. Washington is beating Indiana 31-19 with 2 minutes left in the first quarter as well. Those are the two games that are going on right now. Other games going on all around the NBA. The Houston Rockets facing the Atlanta Hawks. The New Orleans Pelicans facing the Brooklyn Nets. That's an interesting game. This game with the Miami Heat facing the Chicago Bulls. The Cleveland Cavaliers facing the Toronto Raptors. That's another interesting game right there. The New York Knicks facing the Memphis Grizzlies. The Oklahoma City Thunder facing the Minnesota Timberwolves. Charlotte Hornets facing the San Antonio Spurs. That's later tonight. Same with Denver Nuggets facing the Utah Jazz. And at 10 p.m., Dallas Mavericks facing the Phoenix Suns. Probably the most important game of the night tonight, as we get ready for the last game, which is Portland against Sacramento. Not a very interesting game at all. Tomorrow, the Bucks facing the Philadelphia 76ers and the Clippers facing the Lakers, among some of the games that are going to be having taking place on Thursday. So there you go. A couple of good games going on tomorrow. All right. Let's continue with this. Let me see. Miami Heat wins 58 wins. I think Heat finished only behind Boston in the East. Who's that? Oh, we'll see. Go Sun says, I like your hat. Thank you. You can buy it on 5reasonsports.com. You can buy it right there. We have it for sale. So go make sure and go get it. It will be good to see Luka. What is out there again? Not a Dallas fan, but I enjoy watching Luka Doncic. And we have Luka Yovich. So here we go. All right. The national anthem is going on right now at FTX Arena. Of course, we cannot share that, but we will share is the score. I mean, make sure I'm not sharing the actual game. This is the one that we can share. All right. This is the one we're going to be having the score here. So that's as much as we can do for now. Right now, it's the national anthem going on at FTX Arena, and we'll see. All right, Josh Williams, who do you think is the biggest threat in the division for the Heat? In the division, I don't know. Why the division and not the conference? I'm gonna go with the conference. Of course, I think that's an easy answer. I think it's gonna be the Bucks and the Celtics. I mean, the Celtics lost the coach, yes, but I think it's the same team. They're gonna figure it out, in my opinion. All right, let me see. Atlanta is our friend Star Fox 85 talking about the division, the biggest or threat there. Lucas says Goat and Fire, and Jose Mato says Boston. All right. Yeah, all right. Thank you for your opinions. Are you streaming the game or commentating? Says Austin the Sportsman. Bro, I wish we could broadcast the game. Someday we will. No, we are just commenting. This is the Hangout. We do this every now and then here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. We did it last season during the playoffs, and we're going to do it more often during this regular season. So we are actually, let me change the name here. So Hangout. I are saying Hangout. That's how we're going to call it. There you go. That way you guys know what's going on here. There you go. All right. National anthem done, and we are ready to watch some basketball. Here we go. Star Fox says in 100 simulations, Heat won 5, Atlanta, Boston 6, 11 Bucks, rest Philadelphia. Down year for us. If KD, Kyrie, and Simmons figure it out, they could be very good. What up, man? You got the whole team back. Oh, what the hell? I'm just here because I like your stream. Thank you, man. Thank you. Suns are strong. The future of the Nets is the same like the Mets. Poor Mets, right? They lost the division in the last minute, and then they were beaten in the first round. By the way, right now, San Diego beating the Phillies 7-4. They started losing that game 4-0, a couple of errors, a couple of stuff going on there. And then they started hitting the ball, and now it's 7-4. All right. We are getting ready. I mean, I know it's a little later than usual, 7:41, but this is how it is. TV time is money time, so they're making their money right now. And we can go ahead and just review the starting lineup for the Miami Heat. For all of you that are just getting here, this is the team they're going to play right now. Starting the game, Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, Kayla Martin, and Bam Adebayo. That's going to be the starting five, the starting unit for Eric Spoelstra. So a couple of adjustments going back to the starting lineup in the playoffs last year. Max Strus is not in the starting lineup. Of course, Duncan Robinson, who started last year, is not in the starting lineup either. And of course, PJ Tucker, who left for the Sixers, is not in the lineup either as well. So let's see. I like the Suns as my West team. Sympathy. Well, that was the finals that I wanted last year. This Phoenix Suns against the Miami Heat. The Suns didn't make it to the conference finals. And that's what it is. The Heat almost won it, going 7 with the Boston Celtics. Let me see if I can find the starting five for the Chicago Bulls, so we give it to you guys as we get ready for the beginning of the game. Welcome back to the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. We are glad you guys are here. If you have not done so, please subscribe to it. We are gonna be reaching the 20,000 subscribers tonight. Caruso's in. Let me see who else. DeMar DeRozan, I guess. They're not publishing their starting lineup, but I'm guessing Vucevic. Oh, here it is. Here it is. The starting five. So it's Ayo Dosunmu, Alex Caruso, DeMar DeRozan, Patrick Williams, and Nikola Vucevic. That's the starting five for the Chicago Bulls. Again, welcome back to the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's game. A lot of games starting right now. The Atlanta Hawks facing the Houston Rockets is also starting. And we are getting ready to watch this game. Oh, Udonis Haslem is talking right now, so we have to wait. Let's wait because he's giving out a message out. It's his 20th season, and it's going to be his 15th season as a captain. All right. Let's wait for it. He's thanking the fans for coming out again, for the support during these 20 years, and all the love for everybody. Continue to support us. It's going to be a great season. They work hard for you guys. We're going to give you everything that we got. Appreciate it. All right, that was a message from Udonis Haslem as we get ready to watch this game. Again, this is a hangout. We're not able to broadcast it. So let's review the undrafted players on these Heat rosters: Udonis Haslem, Duncan Robinson, Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, Dwayne Dedman, Kayla Martin, Omer Yurtseven, Haywood Highsmith, Jamal Cain, and Drew Smith. All of those guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys are undrafted players, and they are on the Miami Heat roster. Kayla Martin starting tonight, and he's going to be at the 4. So representing all of those undrafted players. Duncan Robinson has started. Max Strus has started. Gabe Vincent has started a lot of games as well. Just mentioning some of them that are going to be getting shots at this NBA season, which is starting right now. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm trying to have the broadcast not stop on me, so I'm going to put it here on big screen. Okay, remember, the starting five for the Chicago Bulls: Ayo Dosunmu, Alex Caruso, DeMar DeRozan, Patrick Williams, and Nikola Vucevic. For the Miami Heat: Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, Kayla Martin, and Bam Adebayo. That's the starting five for the Miami Heat and for the Chicago Bulls. And here we go. The Miami Heat are not wearing red. The Bulls are wearing red. The Miami Heat are wearing white. So it's white night out at FTX Arena. We are getting ready to start. This broadcast is stopping a little bit on me, so I'm going to close a couple of windows here. Bear with me. Bear with me. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be having fun. And here we go. All right. So it's starting right now, and we're going to have the score right here. So in case you need it, just let's watch the game together and let's enjoy the season together here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. It's going to be a hard start for the Miami Heat. All right, I'm going to save that comment as we start the game. This Miami Heat ball. For the first possession of the season. It's too slow on me. Too bad. Jimmy Butler with the ball. It's too slow, man. It's the 35th season for the Miami Heat. Oh, he misses the first one. Well, I'm actually really behind. So let me do something here. I'm really, really behind. And this is not sharing the actual score. So let's go back. I'm going to refresh this. And let's see if we can get a more updated scoreline here for the Miami Heat facing the Bulls tonight. All right, let me see here. Sorry, guys, we're getting this together. The first one of the year. So we'll see. Give me a second. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. It's 5-2 Chicago in my screen. And it's Kayla Martin now with the ball. Back to Bam Adebayo for Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry to Kayla Martin, who has Alex Caruso in front of him. 5 on the shot clock. Well, I'm not going to call the shots here because it's really slow on me. But that's what Tyler Hero brings, huh? They had 5 seconds to go. He was on the top of the key, nowhere to go, and he just found a way to score a couple of points. So this seems like it's going to be a fun season for sure, guys. Let me know what you think. 2 shots, 5 points for Tyler Hero. Caruso takes the open shot. He makes it. Miami Heat playing zone defense, as they usually do. If they have Bam and your 7, they're probably going to go back to man on man defense. Tyler Hero from the corner, and he makes it. So a hot start for Tyler Hero. 3 shots, 8 points for Tyler Hero to start the game, and it's 10-4 for Miami. Rebound for Jimmy Butler. I got him on Prize Picks, so that's points. Now I need him to score. Jimmy Butler with the shot. He misses. Almost got the rebound, but couldn't. Vucevic was there. And DeRozan is the ball. Ooh, something happened. Offensive foul for Nikola Vucevic on Kayla Martin. So great job. trying to fix this, guys, so bear with me. Bear with me. All right. Draws the foul. Jimmy Butler going to the line, as we love. All right. All right, so first time out of the game, the Miami Heat winning 16-14 against the Chicago Bulls. A hot start for our guy Tyler Hero, who had a lot to show here. And let's see. I'm watching the Miami Heat broadcast and they're doing something funny. All right, let me go to the games. Let me see here real quick as we review how this went down in the first couple of minutes. The Miami Heat with 11 points from Tyler Hero, 5 points from Jimmy Butler. Those are the 16 points for the Miami Heat. 2 rebounds for Butler, 2 rebounds for Adebayo, 1 assist for Hero as well, and 1 steal, also 1 block for Bam Adebayo. For the Bulls, just 4 points for DeRozan, 4 for Vucevic, and 2 for Caruso. Those are the 10 points for the Chicago Bulls. The Miami Heat winning 16-10 with 6 minutes 40 seconds left here in the first quarter. So the end of the first quarter, and the Miami Heat is up. Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me here? Can you guys hear me here? Let me know if you can hear me here, please. All right, so it's the end of the first quarter. The Miami Heat winning 33-28 against the Chicago Bulls. So what do you think so far? What do you think about this first quarter? A very good start for Tyler Hero. A very good start for the team. They were up by 9 at some point, and then it went down a little bit. It was down to 1 at some point as well. So minutes for 9 players. Yes, 9 players. Duncan Robinson, Dwayne Dedmon, Gabe Vincent, and Max Strus have come from the bench. 3 points for Dwayne Dedmon and 3 points for Max Strus. For the starting unit, it's 11 points for Tyler Hero, 9 for Jimmy Butler, 7 for Kayla Martin. No points for Bam Adebayo, who missed a couple of easy shots in that first quarter. No Victor Oladipo. That's another one of the stories from tonight. He's not even available tonight, so he's not available there. And who was the other guy? Oh, Kyle Lowry. No points either, but he did have 1 assist. 1 assist. The one leading with the team with assists is Kayla Martin with 3. All right. All right, halftime show ready to go. 59-59. Miami Heat facing the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls came back with a lot of triples. The Miami Heat got an advantage of up to 9 points at some point during the first half, but Chicago came back and almost won the first half in that last second play between Goran Dragic and Nikola Vucevic. So let's wait. We're gonna have the Pace and Spaces conversation going on now. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna turn over to that broadcast, and we'll be back for the second half.
Keep up with the content. I know Brady is at the game. Ethan is at the game. We'll have you covered basically all 82. This is just the first of the beginning of that season. So I want to swing it over to Marco first. I saw Tony just jumped on stage. Marco, what impressed you in that first half? Some good performances by certain guys, and other guys kind of stunk it up a little bit. But overall, what did you see?
Yeah, some guys did. We'll get into that later. But I want to get to the positives. It's the first game of the season. Come on now. I think I got to point out Tyler. The man looks locked in. He looks like he fits seamlessly with the starters. I think people were rightfully wondering if he'd get enough shots up because, there's a lot of mouths to feed in the starting lineup. But I think that kind of solves itself out with Jimmy not really – he's not going to be playoff Jimmy yet. He's going to save himself. I mean, he passed out on 2 layups. That he was not passing out of in the playoffs. So this is Jimmy regular season troll mode. So Tyler's going to get his shots up. He's going to get open shots, which he did get in that first half. He also created some. I really like this one specific play. They had Vooch and Io blitz Tyler out in the left wing. Bam set the screen and then came down. He slipped it. Tyler kept the dribble going, which is one thing you have to keep up whenever you get blitzed like that. He kept the dribble going. He waited. The clock was down to 5 seconds too. He never rushed himself, and he kept the dribble alive. He dribbled inside the free throw line, got a nice floater out of it. That's probably my favorite play of the first half, and showed me the growth that I needed. But the bad stuff, yeah, you got to stop with giving up so many threes. Some of those threes the Heat are going to give up though, and they're going to have to live with it because the Bulls are normally not a good 3-point shooting team. They don't shoot a lot, but I guess they make them. Last year they were bottom 5 in terms of made threes a game. But yeah, other than that, you really got to clean up the looks that Bam got, and I think this will kind of even itself out in the second half. But hopefully the Heat kind of tightens the screws up.
Yeah, that last point about 3-point shooting, it really seems like the Bulls are the ones that are staying in the game with the 3-point shot. They're 10 of 24, 41%. Obviously, that's very good. But we're shooting 53%. We're 9 of 17. So they've made more. They've attempted more. I'm actually looking to clean the glass. Almost 50% of the Bulls shots come from behind the arc, 47% from behind the arc. So, Tony, what did you see in the first half? You can add on to what Marco said or go in a different direction.
Yeah, I posted something in the space up top there that Coop brought up, and I think that it's so indicative of what we're going to see all season with them. They're using dynamic motion and off-ball cuts to really create offense, and Tyler's ability right now is improved ability as a playmaker to really see the floor, keep his head up on the drives. And something that I was looking at going into this game was how they were going to play Tyler Hero when he was able to create penetration. And they're still hedging him, just like they were doing in preseason. They're still trying to trap his pick and roll when he's the ball handler. That's creating so much space for everyone else. And our offense is filling those holes. Everybody is moving. No one is still on offense. When you size down, this is what you want to see. You want to see a dynamic offense, something that's very fluid, that's moving around, flying around the court. But the worry on the other side is you're going to give up rebounds, especially as a switching defense. You're going to give up rebounds no matter what. But then you size it down and you have some real concerns about how the team's going to look defensively. But, man, everybody's giving so much effort out there. I remember the first, 2 weeks of the season last year when we were coming into these spaces, man, these switches don't seem good. When other teams do find penetration and we have to go into a rotation, boy, those rotations are popping out late. Guys aren't getting to their spots right. Tyler looks great. He's getting to all of his spots on defense. There's one rotation I can point out in the first quarter where he didn't get out to Caleb White fast enough. I wasn't too happy with him there. But outside of that, Tyler's looked amazing. Everyone else is really sliding well defensively. And they're doing the thing that you want to see a smaller, more athletic team do, which is get into transition. Jesus, the points that they're generating right now in transition, Sean, if you're on cleaning the glass, it's disgusting. It's plus 200 per 100 possessions right now. And that's on, I mean, this is small sample size theater. We're talking about one half of NBA basketball, and we have 82 games behind it. But, guys, I'm telling you right now, if this team can be aggressive on the boards, and Tyler attacking Vooch early in the first quarter was such a great sign that they understand their limitations. They understand what they have to do to overcome them. It's going to be a really fun season of basketball. I mean, you had Ron Rothstein looking alive again after last year's halftime shows. You know, Ron's always great. Wasn't looking too great. He's making jokes at halftime. And the last time I saw Ron making jokes at halftime, we went to a finals. So I'm saying, so the vibes are immaculate. Stuff's floating really well right now. I'm so happy. And by the way, the Bam stuff, Bam's getting wide open dunks. You saw him go coast to coast and drill that shit in there on 4 guys. If you think there's going to be a problem with Bam dunking the basketball, I can't save you. You're in the sunken place.
All right, someone that's not in the sunken place. Perfect segue. Brian Fonseca, what did you see in the first half? Any of the things you want to look ahead to in the second half? And then we'll go to the rest of the people on stage after that. So thanks for jumping on. Brian, go ahead.
Caleb actually taking a mid-range pull-up when they went drop against him was interesting to me. If he's going to hit that shot, then that's going to be something worth monitoring for pretty much the rest of the season, especially if he's going to play that 4 spot, 3-4, whatever the case may be. But it was one play, but I would like for him to continue to look for that, because that's going to be fascinating to watch things open up as he continues to just sort of be out there. Like, he was active. I liked what he was showing on both ends, especially from an energy standpoint. Caleb is somebody I'm watching closely, obviously, because like he's the guy in the starting lineup where people are like, not really sure about that one, but so far, like, you're okay with it. To Tony's point, though, and this is something I'm worried about, like, as the season progresses, you're giving up the size and you're probably going to lose a lot on the boards. They're actually out-rebounding Chicago right now, 25-20, which is good. But at the same time, like, that's something to just watch going forward. The Bam stuff, I mean, I'll say this, like, obviously it's bad. It's also just one half. And I think that a previous version of him doesn't take the 10 shots, meaning he probably misses a few early, goes into a shell, and then we don't see the coast-to-coast dunk and him throw his hands up in the air like, oh, goddamn, finally, got something to go. So he's getting the looks, he's getting the shots. He just has to make them. I think if he just makes 3 or 4 more shots, like, it's not a tied game, obviously. Like, they'd be up 10 at that point. So that is what it is. They'll try to get him going in the second half, and I think he will. And Tyler Hero's look sensational so far. If he's gonna do this all the time, like, he'll be challenging for an all-star bid. I'm gonna wrap it up so that other people can come talk. But yeah, Tyler Hero, he's been awesome. And then Jimmy also getting to the line. Hopefully he doesn't land on the ground every single time going forward as he's getting contact, but he's doing a great job of doing Jimmy things and getting to the line. And this is a Chicago Bulls team that they should be able to put away with a strong third quarter. So let's see if it happens.
Yeah, real quick before we send it around the stage, 62% of our shots have come within 14 feet, which is very good. We're getting rim pressure, we're getting shots there. We're just not knocking shots down when we get there. Those shots percentage, I'm looking at it right around like 40%, which in the paint in that close area, that should not be that low. Luckily, we're shooting 53% from behind the arc. All right, I'm going to swing it around. We got about 5 minutes left in the halftime. I'm going to start off with Joy. Joy, I missed you over the summertime. Always in spaces. She does great stuff. Joy, go ahead.
I appreciate that. So I'm going to be quick because I know everybody has got to go. I just want to say I'm so glad y'all are being optimistic, because when I tell y'all I was about to lose my voice, okay, with Bam Adebayo tonight, I was going to lose my voice. I was yelling and screaming at the freaking TV. I don't know. Listen, Bam, this is not the same one I saw in preseason. He looked aggressive. I saw him, hesitate a few shots. And I am glad that he's taking, the shots regardless of, him missing and breaking and doing everything else. But I do believe in Bam completely, and I believe he's gonna make All-Star this year. And I know that if he keeps shooting and keep going, he'll be fine. So I'm not worried about him. But he pissed me off. I'm not gonna lie, he was pissing me off. Tyler looks amazing. He looks really, really good. So shout out to him. I'm not surprised whatsoever. When he got that extension, people felt different ways, but I knew that if he got that extension, that he would back up his play with the money. So I'm happy that he's off to a good start. Jimmy looks good. I'm not surprised in that either. But my thing is, I'm trying to, Eric Spoelstra, he can be really, really iffy on when he brings out certain players. And I'm really, really excited to see when we're going to see Jamal Cain and Nikola Yovich. It may not be today, but I'm really, really excited for whenever they come out because I really, really want to know what they look like inside of a regular season rotation. So hopefully we'll see it soon. But yeah, that's what I got for it.
Appreciate that. Ray, go ahead.
I despise using this phrase with all of my heart and soul, but I'm just going to say it anyway because, I mean, it's a fact of the matter. Tyler Hero is him, and everybody who doubted that man, you should just get on the timeline and apologize to him. The stuff with Bam, I don't care. It's perfectly fine. Those shots will fall eventually. If they don't fall tonight, they will fall for the rest of the freaking season. The one thing I actually have been very impressed with is Max. He looks very comfortable all throughout the floor. Caruso defended it really well, but I saw Max Strus do a double behind the back dribble to try to drive to the basket, and I literally, my jaw dropped. I did not think that was in Max's bag. Was very impressed with that. Even again, so that Caruso defended it as well as he did. He's a very good defender. But all in all, we're fine. I'm not worried about a thing. I don't expect the Bulls to shoot what they're shooting from three. I don't expect Bam to shoot 1 of 10 in the second half. He's got about 8 more shots before he reaches his quota for the night, according to what his standards are. So it's just one of those things where it's just wait and see. I have the Heat, -6.5, and I'm sure by the end of the third quarter, they'll be, up 10, something to that effect. I know Sean likes to say, I won't even steal it from him. I just want to say go Heat, and it's great to be back. Joy, I also missed you as well.
Hey, Ray, give me the tagline one time, Ray, before I send it to Sebastian.
Man, piss on that shit. We gonna win this goddamn game.
Appreciate that. Sebastian, go ahead.
I really like what I saw from Caleb during this first half. It was very encouraging, and I think we pretty much, I wouldn't say safe to say, but I really like what I saw with like the whole situation we had like during the offseason, freaking out because we didn't have a 4. But what we've seen so far has been pretty good, pretty solid. I really like the way he was passing, the way he was moving around, the way he was defending. It was really, really encouraging. And also, Tyler, very well-deserved extension. He's been off, and I'm not worried at all about Bam. I actually like that he took 10 shots at the half, even though he only made 1. I am very encouraged from what I saw. I said yesterday in a space that I wanted to see cojones from Bam, and 10 shots pretty much is cojones, even though he didn't make them, but I don't care. I want to see that.
Appreciate it, Sebastian. Heat in 5. Go ahead. You're going to close it out, and then I'll let you guys know where you can find our other content. Go ahead.
All right, what's up, guys? Since everybody else already pretty much said everything that needs to be said about Bam, I'll go with the guards. It's really nice to see Gogi looking fresh. He's looking youthful out there, hitting shots. It just kind of sucks that it's coming at the expense of Gabe Vincent, who's like being lit up from the perimeter by Goran. So I just really want to see what Kyle and Gabe are going to do in the second half. I've not seen much from those two guys. So if they can make their presence felt in any way, I think the Heat should be able to get a win tonight. Thanks.
Appreciate that. Second half is about to start. I put up in the stage, Miami Heat beat tonight. Greg Sylvander is going to be on the postgame show. That is going to be the official postgame show tonight for 5 reasons. We'll have 5 on the floor. I believe it is Alex and Brady are on that one. That'll be on either late tonight or early tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, 3:05 in the afternoon on the East Coast, you got Justin and John Jablaka doing the I'll be honest with you, I don't know what the hell the show is called. We have too many
305 Live.
305 Live. Check that out. That'll give you more time. This is obviously rapid fire with 15 minutes, but that one's like an hour show. So if you want to jump up and get your opinions out there, hopefully after a Heat win, they'll be playing Peppas and doing all that stuff. So appreciate you guys coming in. Make sure you follow our accounts. This is where you'll get our spaces. Lots of content coming out of this account if you don't already follow it. And let's go Heat.
Make him call first time out.